and her passion. And, you know, while we've had so many people that are ranking, and I wish I could really identify each one of you, because you've done such a fantastic job of getting it. But then I heard from Shannon this weekend, and Shannon is signing up. Now, I may exaggerate, but you know, in network marketing, how can you tell? But 3 and 4 people a day. Shannon, I want to turn this over to you and give you a few minutes to tell everybody just exactly what you are doing and how you are bringing these people together to sign up that many people in a day. I give you Shannon Melnick.
Hi, David. Thank you so much, and it's truly an honor to be invited. So thank you so much. And I have another appointment. A gentleman asked me to meet me tonight at 8 o'clock, and I said, sorry, I can't. I have to be on the Zoom, and I have to hear Rick, so I can't leave home till after 9. So I'm excited to hear from Rick. So anyways, I'll go really quickly. How am I enrolling so many people? And it's not quite.
Yeah. I just listened to a really quick presentation in Mexico, and as I told everyone, it was a great presentation, but it was so fast. If it had been in Texan, I wouldn't have understood it. So here, now don't talk fast Canadian. Just slow it down for Rick and I, because he spent some time in Texas too.
Okay, sorry. Oh, I'm just so excited. Okay, I'm not quite enrolling like 3 or 4 people a day. I'm enrolling, so 6 weeks ago I enrolled 2 people, and the other day I enrolled 3 people. How am I doing it? Like I said on the call the other day, I'm networking big time. I go to every meetup I possibly can, and I have a lot of new friends, and it's kind of cool because our team in Calgary says to me, Shannon, I don't even know anybody in your pictures anymore. And that's super cool, because that means I'm doing something. That I have all these new friends, and I keep getting invited to parties and barbecues, and I go to everything. And sometimes I have to miss things. Star had an event this week, and I couldn't even make that one because I had 5 functions to go to on Saturday. But honestly, I just go to everything I'm invited to, and I network and network and network, and I make friends. And so I have a lot of people in the pipeline, probably 20 to 50 people in the pipeline. But of course, they're not all going to join at the same time. Now, you guys know I've been in News 30 for 8 years. I've been doing network marketing for 10 years. I've never networked this much ever. And if any of you can do this, you can do what I'm doing. And so 6 weeks ago, I had 2 people reach out to me. I got 1 on paper, but I didn't put her in the computer. I called like 20 people, and I said, if you join today, you have like 2 or 3 hours to decide. I got somebody to put under you. So I ended up getting 2 people. That was 6 weeks ago. And then the other day, I got 1 girl on paper, but I didn't put her in the computer. I called everybody I knew who I knew was interested, and I ended up getting 3 people on paper. And I'm not done yet. Like, I still got a lot of people to come in, but it's just timing for them. It's when they're ready. So now I just got to wait for the next rotation. I get 1 on paper, and then I call everybody, and I say, okay, are you ready to come in yet? And that's how I'm doing it, honestly. But I'm networking so much that I have tons and tons of people on the back burner, tons and tons of people in the pipeline. And it's just, I'm relentless at going to events and meeting people. And then I go to the same events to meet the same people over and over and over, because then it's repetition. And I'm an old face, and they trust me more when I keep showing up. And also, you guys, I want to talk about power ranking, because this is so freaking huge. Power ranking, I've personally jumped over 200 positions in the world, which is huge. But I want to tell you guys something about power ranking. It isn't just your personal volume. We have someone in our team who has volume of 600 to 800 a week, and she's in the top 5 in our whole team globally. And it's because she's an enrolling machine with customers and the odd distributor, but more customers. So you can outperform other people in your team just by being a customer enrolling machine or with the odd distributor. So keep going, you guys. Everybody's working so, so hard. And I want to give a huge shout out to Terry Dawn, who jumped a few ranks. I think they went senior officer. And this week we had a couple girls from Calgary, Cheryl Tapes, and I think her name's, I always forget her name, Jonah Bell. And they're popping ranks left, right, and center. But this isn't like, absolutely, I'm enrolling a lot of customers and a lot of distributors, absolutely. So that's 5 for me in 6 weeks, which I've never had that kind of success before. But it's because I'm relentless and just continually going to meet people and meeting people and meeting people and just having them in the pipeline. And so when timing's right, they'll all join. And not all of them are going to be builders yet. Some of them want to build in 6 months, some of them in 3 months, but they want to get in the tree to get their spot so that when they are ready to build, they can build. So thank you so much, David.
Shannon, I think that's so fantastic. And I saw everybody shaking their head. I saw Rick shaking his head. It is, you are committed. You are absolutely committed. And there's no substitute for hard work. There is no substitute for commission. There is no substitute for passion. And that's what you have. You exude all of that. Everybody who's around you, they just don't see it. They feel it. And so, you are a great ambassador for Ariix/Nucerity. We appreciate what you do, and we appreciate you sharing with us tonight.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, this next gentleman that's going to speak, and we're going to kind of do a little bit. I've never done an interview, but I know that one thing I can count on. I've always heard an interviewer's worst nightmare is when somebody answers questions with yes and no. Whether it's Johnny Carson or which. Of course, here, boy, you talk about dating myself. And when I say Dick Cavett, most of you don't even know who that is. Yeah, but I really did enjoy him. Boy, he was really, really bright. But I'm going to tell you something that Rick doesn't know. We were talking about a mutual friend of ours that was with a company that Rick was with, and from time to time he and I visit, and he reached out this weekend, and so we were talking, and just about life, and he's had some real life changes that we all do. I said, tell me something. I said, we got a new guy here. Of course, Lion Iron, we're all new. And I said that I'm not going to tell you what I think of him until you tell me what your experience is with him. And so I said, how well do you know Rick Redford? I wrote his exact words. Very simple. I love Rick. He's an awesome guy. Well, what could I say but, hey, I haven't known him long enough to love him, but I think I will. But awesome guy? Absolutely. Rick's a straight shooter. Rick's got great experience. And Rick, welcome to the call tonight. And it looks like you may be muted.
Not anymore. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. And now I have to ask who the person was that I paid off.
His initials are AW.
AW.
Yeah, AW. As in Andre.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let me. What I really admired, I'll tell you, I was on the call with Rick last week, and Tish did an interview, and I thought it was outstanding. She was very, very well prepared, asked really great questions, and one of the first questions is for just a lead in is, Rick, if you could, a lot of people here, you've talked to a lot of people on this call already. Yeah. But there's a lot of people here that you probably haven't. I think they'd like to know, okay, who's Rick Redford? Is he really Robert Redford's brother? And how did you get here? And I would say, why Ariix? Why now?
Well, I appreciate it, David. And first of all, Shannon, thank you for sharing your message. And everything you said. First of all, I love your nails. Being a true Metro, I notice things like that. So well played on the nails. But one of the things that she said that really got me excited was just the consistency and networking. Sometimes it boils down to just being there. I know that a lot of, there's some sayings that say 90% is just showing up. And the reality is a lot of it is just being there and showing up and being in places where you can be seen, where you can meet people and what that might look like to you. So, David, I appreciate you asking the question because I, to be honest with you, and the company that I came from, I was the CEO of a public company called Forever Green. And if you look at the public numbers, and this isn't anything I'm disclosing, the company has struggled for the last 4 years. And they brought me in 2 years ago to turn things around. And I spent most of my time on the back end of the business, financials, the operations, streamlining, laying people off. I got really caught up in the day-to-day grind, and I lost what I call my mojo. I had an opportunity to talk with one of the people I used to work with at Forever Green, and she asked today, she said, "How are you?" And I said, I don't want to make you feel bad, but I'm just awesome right now. I'm happy. I'm excited. I've got my mojo back. And she almost went into tears. She said, "I am so happy for you. You deserve that. You were so miserable. And we all knew you were miserable, but you were doing everything you needed to do. And we appreciated it, but so happy that you're happy now and you have your energy back." So that's the reason why I left. That's the reason why I was looking. And I have a lot of experience in the industry, a lot of connections. I had some opportunities and was talking with a few companies and had the opportunity to reconnect with Mark Wilson, who I've known for a few years in the industry. And we have commonality and common friends in the industry. And he said, are you thinking about leaving? And I said, I am. And he said, we don't really have any executive positions here right now, but a guy like you with your experience doesn't come along all the time. Let's talk. And so we started to talk, and about that same time, and I think this is an important piece of my story, on May 5th of this year, I wrote down in my planner, and yes, I joke about being one of the last men standing that carries a Franklin Day planner around. Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
On March 5th, I wrote down, "Take back your life and happiness." And I believe in intention. I believe in energy. I recognized what I needed to do. It wasn't 3 weeks later in that same planner that I wrote the phrase, "Accepted Ariix's offer." 3 weeks. I do believe that we can be that intentional. So why did I choose Ariix over other companies that are out there? It boils down to 5 things. Number 1, the mission and vision of the company. Be very clear about it. It was important to me. The mission and vision of the company has to be larger than life. It has to be bigger than me, bigger than David, bigger than each one of you, because that's what sustains a company through its difficult times. And we all go through phases as ups and downs. And, it's just life. It's like relationships. It's like life itself. And the mission and vision of the company is what keeps it moving forward in a positive direction. The founders of the company are committed to you as representatives. What I mean by that is that there will never be a day where the owners of this company, and including myself, doesn't look out and try to look out for the best interest of the representatives, each one of you. And I believe it shows up in the Bill of Rights. It shows up in everything that company does. Now, they still make mistakes, but their history and track record has been very, very good and positive. So that's number one. Number two is the ownership of the company. And you might say that sounds a lot the same as the one, but a vision and mission is one thing, and the ownership of the company with their experience, their drive. There's 7 owners. And the cool thing about 7 owners, well, I should say the difficult thing about 7 owners is they're all alphas. And so they all have their own opinions. They have their own direction. They have their own ideas. And how do you wrangle that? It's like herding cats sometimes. I mean, Deanna's going to be in the office tomorrow, and I know what that's going to look like. You know, it's like a Tasmanian devil, you know, spinning through the office, and office is right next to me. So it'll be fun. But that's the double-edged sword. The positive side is that no one owner is going to make a decision to take this company a whole new direction. And that's important. That's critical. I will also say that I've been a part of venture capitals that raise money for this industry. I've been a part of public entities that looks for shareholders. The number one thing they look for in a company is not the product, is not the industry, is not the background of the company. It's the people. Number one. And as an investor will look for is the owners of the company. And so that was very important to me. Number 3 is the product. And it's not about one individual product. It's about a product philosophy. Is the company, are the owners committed to 100% to effective, high-quality products that are safe? And one of the things that resounding about our products is environmentally conscious, highest degree of ingredients. The philosophy is so sound. I love the idea of brands and philosophy of brands, because I've seen companies that go like this, and then they have one product, and that one product either fails or there's news about it or becomes a commodity. Instantly, they start to lose ground. There's nothing there to hold it together. You've seen it with Zango. You've seen it with Monavie. You've seen it in some regard with Mangosteen. I'm sorry, not Mangosteen, Mirinda. And the reality is it's because they are one product companies. And yeah, that can be really exciting and easy to talk about. But what happens when that one product becomes a commodity? You can find almost anything exactly like it in the stores. So that's number 3 is the product commitment and philosophy. Number 3. Number 4 is the compensation plan. This company brags and says that it pays 50 cents on every dollar. The first thing I did, the first day I was there, I went and met with the controller, and I said, I want to see our profit and loss statement, our P&L. I want to see our financial statements. I want to see that we actually do pay 50 cents on the dollar, because a lot of companies brag that they pay 50%. The reality is, and the last one I was with paid 62% on volume. But if you look at their public record, they pay 41 cents on every dollar, 41%. And that's normal in the industry. It isn't that 41% is bad. It's not. It's actually really good. But the reality is we pay 50 cents on every dollar. We say we pay what we pay. It's fair. It's equitable. It's balanced. And it's a cool comp plan because it has aspects that you can't see in the industry. Plus, if you're talking with someone who's been used to building a binary, it can roll right into the comp plan. If you talk with someone who has been building a unilevel, it can roll right into the comp plan. If you talk to somebody who's been building a matrix, it can roll right into the comp plan. And that's very, very unusual. And then the last thing, to me, is the most exciting. And that is the timing of everything. When I was a stockbroker in the 1980s, we used to talk about risk to reward. Usually the things that had the highest potential for reward had the highest amount of risk. And the reality is, you know, when I was in my 20s, and that was just a few years ago, David, when I was in my 20s, I could take bigger risks because, you know, you can recover quickly. You still have 30 or 40 years of work experience ahead of you. That's fine. I'm just a tad older than that now. I'm tired of startups. Did not want to be a part of a risky type of scenario because I wanted this to be my last stand, kind of like Custard. And the reality is Ariix will do over $200 million this year. And I would challenge anyone on this call to go out into your community and show me that more than 5% of the people you talk to even have heard of Ariix or know anything about it. That to me screams unlimited opportunity and upside potential with none of the risk, because you've got a 7-year-old company with a $200 million base. That's exciting. So for me, those are the 5 main reasons why I came to Ariix. I believe they're probably consistent with the reasons why you love where you are and where you can see the potential as well.
Thanks, Rick. That's very well put. I think very easy for everybody to understand. Tell us a little bit, and this is maybe the toughest question that I will ask you, because it has to do with the compensation plan, and you're new. I mean, this compensation plan, this Ariix compensation plan, is just full of opportunities. You're new with a lot of experience. How would you, when you're talking to new people, and we've got a lot of new people coming in right now, and also those that have been here, and I think most of us would admit that at first it's natural to compare one comp plan with the other, and then you stand there like a deer in the headlights wishing that you were someplace else, and the fact is you're not. So it's let's make this happen. And Rick, give us your advice on how we maximize the Ariix comp plan, and what would you do if you were starting out?
Well, and that's a great question, David. Okay, so I'm going to use because I only have 2 things that are close to me that I can use as shapes. This is a square. Let's call this the Nucerity comp plan. It's not good or bad or left or right or up or down. It's square. And just, no analogies. Just everybody stick with me for a minute. So the Ariix plan is a rectangle. It's not that it's left or right or up or down or good or bad. You used to be a square, and now it's a rectangle. That's how you have to look at this. And sorry, my dog's going crazy. The reality is you look at what you have in front of you, not what you used to have. Because the tendency is to say, yeah, but this used to be this way, and that this used to be that way, and that's the, I want it to be the way it was. Well, I've sat in comp plan meetings. I've designed comp plans. I've built comp plans. I haven't programmed them. I'm not that smart. But I've analyzed comp plans, and to me, the key to a comp plan is it fair? Is it balanced? And is it equitable? Because there's only 3 places it can pay. And this is really deep. In the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. That's it. It's really as simple as this. So if we pay what we say we pay, and it's fair and balanced and equitable, I mean, fair and balanced means, is it enough in the beginning to excite somebody to get it going? Is there enough in the middle to keep them going through the middle of the plan? Is there enough at the end for that dream of what this industry is all about? So with that as a preface, I will tell you that to me, it comes down to 3 things. If I was starting today, now, if you already have a base to go from, then use that as your leverage point, your base to start from. Number 1, I would make sure that I was, it's not unlimited. It's elite, and then what's the 3rd one, 4th one?
Business.
No, business, elite.
Oh, the ultimate.
Ultimate. I was testing you.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, no, ultimate. I would make sure I was ultimate. And if I'm not ultimate, meaning, I'm looking at Shannon because I can see you there and your great red lipstick and nails. You might say, well, I'm not ultimate. I missed the opportunity. Well, let me tell you something. I have one of my first days at work, I went to Omar and his team up in the customer service center. And I said, do people who don't make Ultimate in their first 4 weeks or 8 weeks ever call up and say, you know what, I only missed it by this much. Can I still hit it? And they said, it happens all the time. I said, how often do you work out a plan with them? They said, every time. So, don't look at it as what I missed the opportunity of. If you're serious about this, Ultimate ensures that you get the highest level of payout. Number one, I would make sure I was 2x. However long that takes me, whatever I need to do to get there, I would make sure that I'm 2x. And number three, I would make sure that I'm gold. So those three things are the DNA, or the building blocks of business. I always look at, and people get hung up. So if I started with a company tomorrow that was a traditional company selling calculators, this shows how old I am. Who even uses a calculator anymore? Yeah. I've got, you know what? This is so funny. I've got 2 of them at my desk. And I never use them. I use my phone. There you go. So if I start with a company that's selling calculators, the first question I'm going to ask is, what's the minimum amount of calculators that I need to sell to maximize the percentage of earnings that I get? It's a traditional selling question. And so it's the same thing with any kind of compensation plan. What's the minimum amount I need to do so that I can maximize my earnings as I move forward? Those 3 things are the simple ways that you can maximize and not leave money on the table. Now, if you already have some of your organization, how do you take and leverage that now? And if you didn't hit it in the very beginning, it's okay. Let's get together and say, here's where I am. And more than likely what will happen is, and the question came up from Margaret, when Ariix will run a promotion for Ultimate, how about right now? How about if you want to hit Ultimate, you call Omar or Maria or myself and you say, I want to be Ultimate. Here's what I am right now. What do I need to do? I promise you that there will be a plan put together for you in the next 24 hours that can get you to Ultimate. It's as simple as that. Nobody wants to hold you back. The comp plan creates an urgency. It's built into the plan. Don't focus on that for yourself. Focus on that for the new people that come in. Hey, if you want to be Ultimate, get there in your first 4 weeks. This is what you need to do. Oh, you know what? I can't afford that. Well, you know what? That's fine, because you got 8 weeks to do it with your organization. Let's work on it that way then. And then at the end of that, you can say, great job. You fell a little bit short. Let's call the company together. I'll bet they'll work out a plan for you. I mean, that's what this is all about, is helping you to achieve the goals you want to achieve and not leaving money on the table. So Ultimate, gold, 2x. Then the question is, where do I place the people? Well, the next goal would be to optimize. Well, you can only optimize really one at a time. Well, I guess you could optimize more than one at a time, but most people optimize one at a time. So focus on that. And how do you optimize one at a time? You got to have a greater leg or a bigger leg and a lesser leg. Well, that's 2 legs. I would start with 2 legs. I would optimize, and when I optimize the first one, guess what you get when you optimize the first one? You get a next one. So then you got 3. What happens when you optimize the second one? You get another one, so you have 4. That you can do it that way. If you believe that you are creating something and you have you come across, at one of Shannon's parties, she comes across somebody that is just so solid and so cool. She says, this is going to be the top of one of my legs. Don't hesitate to put that on the 3rd leg. You'll know what to do, but don't lose sight of the goal. Ultimate, gold, 2x, optimize, and then you're off to the races. Did you know the numbers bear out? If you can get 4 and then have them get 4 and help them get 4, so 3 levels of 4, that's over $150,000 a year income. Now, is it that easy? No. Is it that simple? Yes. So hopefully that helps a little bit.
I want to really reiterate something you said, and I heard you say this on the call last time we were together. I want everybody to think about what Rick said. It's raise your hand. If you need help, raise your hand. Reach out. We're all new. Right? We're all new. None of us have all the answers yet. Will we? And I don't believe in myself that I'll ever have all the answers. I learn something new every single day. But there are, yes, you look at the comp plan, you do this, 4, 4, 4. And let me tell you, simple, as Rick said, maybe not easy, but you eat an elephant one bite at a time. And if you are not getting the cut of meat that you need out of that elephant to chew it, call Rick, call Omar, call customer service and ask for help. Ask for help. If you don't know, ask somebody, and actually that's the absolutely right thing to do. And what Rick said, yes, there's times you got to do this in 4 weeks, you got to do this in 8 weeks. If you didn't make it, ask for help. Man, I'm making progress. Can you help me? What Rick said is, not one time has somebody been turned down. That's amazing. That's huge. It is. I'm looking here, and Rick, I could go on and on. Asking you questions because you are a fountain of information, and I wish now that I'm getting to know you, I wish I could present as smoothly as you do. You can't take the cowboy out of me. I am a cowboy, and that's unfortunately pretty much how I present. Some of them like it, some of them don't. Leave us. Hello. Leave us with some wisdom. Something that we can take with us. And I will tell you something, when I go back, and I'm going back to a note that I took when I think it was Lonnie and I's first meeting, and watch me now not be able to come up with that. And of course I didn't. See if I can get a note here. No, I don't. I apologize. Belief. See, when I forgot about it, belief. Talk to us just a little bit about belief, Rick.
Well, and I was going to start talking like this so everybody would feel comfortable with me, because I have spent some time in Texas, and I would like to sound a little bit slower and more precise in how I talk. Is that okay?
No.
But I did live for 2 years in Canada, so I can go round and about the house and just as easily. So I love the relationships in this industry, David, and I heard some people from Calgary and some people in Alberta. I lived in Alberta for 2 years, and I loved living in Alberta. I know, right? Yeah. And I'm excited to come to Vernon and to come to BC, to Vancouver, Richmond, basically. And David's going to be there with us, and Mark and David and I, and a fresh new face that we're going to be introducing to you as a country manager is going to be introduced, and she's going to be at Vernon. So I know I saw Ken and Debbie that reached out, and we're excited. She's going to be with us in Vernon, and David, she's going to be driving with you and I from Vernon to BC, or I mean from Vernon to Vancouver. So you and I will get to know her better. So sorry, you asked a question. Let me answer the question.
Sure.
Belief is everything. And belief, in my opinion, this is the simple equation of, and I'm not going to try to draw it like I did with you and Lonnie. I hammered that one, but the belief leads to activity. So if you have a piece of paper, write this down. So belief, and then an arrow leads to activity, an arrow that leads to volume, which leads to another arrow, dollars or bigger checks. And then take an arrow and draw it from the dollar around back to the belief. And the higher your check is, the more your belief is. And the reality is, when you talk to someone who's fresh in the business, it's like a gas tank. It's a belief tank. It's full. I mean, in that moment, it is full as it's going to get. And what happens is everything that we say and do as a company affects if that stays full or not. Everything you as an upline say and do for them affects that belief. People around them affect their belief. They're the dream stealers that they call first affects that belief. But we all have a responsibility for that belief. The more we can create a fuller belief tank, the stronger the activity will be. The more volume is generated, the bigger checks are generated, the more belief will be regenerated. Belief is everything. It's the foundation. What happens is most companies focus on, we just need to create more volume, and they forget the foundation of what drives that volume is belief. It's thousands and tens of thousands of people performing consistent daily effort. That consistent daily effort may be, like Shannon described, networking at every event you can possibly find. It may be posting something every day on Facebook. It may be sharing an email. It may be sharing a before and after with at least one or two people every day. It's consistent daily effort of doing something is what activity is, and what is momentum. It comes down to that, in my opinion. It's as simple as that. And so the message that I would share just in closing would be passion. Rediscover your passion. I lost mine. My family realized it. My wife recognized it. She's like, go get a hobby. She's never told me to go get a hobby ever, because I traveled so much when I was working that it's like, stay home. Now it was like, go get a hobby, because I come home. I mean, honestly, guys, I couldn't wait to go to bed at night. It was my only relief. And when I'd wake up in the morning, I thought how many hours it would be till I went back to bed. It was awful. I wasn't myself. I was unhappy. Every one of us go through those periods of life. We get stuck in whatever rut it is. And you know what? Change is difficult. The merger, I've been involved in a couple of different mergers in this industry, and it can be stagnating because you're used to this. This is the culture we have. This is the comp plan we have. This is the pricing we have. This is it's all changed. It doesn't mean it's bad, but you get caught up in the, oh gosh, it's changed, and I don't know what to do now, and I'm just going to wait until I can figure this out. And then another week leads to another week, to another week, to another week. And the challenge is that in those times you lose your passion. And I would just say as a parting remarks, get back in touch with your passion. Take back your passion like I had to do. And sometimes it means change. In most cases, it's just meant reinvigoration. Like taking a shower or taking a nap sometimes can really invigorate you. And sometimes it's taking a half step back and saying, look what I've got. And I'm coming in with fresh eyes, and it's what I said when I first said why I came to Ariix. Look at it with fresh eyes and realize what you have in front of you, what it means in this industry, how lucky we are to be a part of a $200 million startup with the products and the comp plan, the people. Having David, and sometimes you have a merger or a change and you lose your heart and soul, David and Lonnie. Well, you didn't lose them. You just gained more family members. And sometimes you don't like your stepbrothers, and hopefully you like me. And I forgot to answer the first question you asked. No, I'm not Robert Redford's brother, but I am his cousin. I'm like fourth cousin, and, who knows how far back that is. And people say, well, how come you don't know him better? And I say, well, how many of your fourth cousins do you even know their names? So anyway, hopefully anything I said made any sense to you tonight, but I am excited. I have my mojo back, and I found and rediscovered my passion. And I know that you can as well. And it can be found right here. We have everything.
Rick, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I know everybody enjoyed everything you had to say. And Tish, I want you to open up the lines, but I've got 4 things to say to you. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your week. And this is your year. The time is now. Just do it and just believe. Thank you very much. Open them